Black people, we've got to fight. Jean Petro, you see us. Oh, we've got to fight. Let's go fight. Oh, Black people, we've got to fight. Zumbi, you see us. Oh, we've got to fight. Let's go fight. Oh, Black people, we've got to fight. Yes, Santa, why you see us? Oh, we've got to fight. Let's go fight. Oh, Black people, we've got to fight. Bookman, you see us. Oh, we've got to fight. Let's go fight. Oh,
we have to have the courage to construct our own reality. And that's what Garvey was talking about. Because he said he looked around, he didn't see what he thought should be there, and so what did he do? He didn't get depressed about it. He didn't get defeated about it. He said, I'm going to build the government that we need to have. Ooh, where do you get that kind of boldness from? So we got to go all the way back to Garvey, who said he would come again. He said he would be here with us, no matter how long it took. And I'm telling you that the way he comes back is in our work. Not honoring him in words, pomp and all of that stuff, but honoring him through doing what he did. How many of us have the courage to do that? The man took on the world for us and in our name. And then we come to Sodai. And in this presentation of the paradigm, I'm going to make this like what it is we want to reach. So Sodai is translated clear word in Dogana language. And I use it to mean that here we gain understanding. This is sight with understanding. And it is seeing beyond what just we think we see with this physical thing. It's seeing beyond that. And so we gain vision, because that's what vision is. With vision, you've got to be able to use the imagination informed by the African spirit. And Brother Amos, who I work very closely with, was a good friend of mine. He taught me, and he would talk about imagination. Image a nation. Do you see? But that's got to be part of vision. To be a visionary, you got to see beyond this box here. You got to see beyond the ma'afa. You got to see what is it that our people rightfully should have, and that's what Garvey did. Garvey had a vision.
Greetings, family, and welcome to the program, the scheduled program for tonight, Revolutionary Minds. I am Stella B, and this is
Medai,
representing Out of Noise on Kimbunga Media. We are so happy to be here and blessed and privileged to have your company, your beautiful company tonight. So, Revolutionary Minds, we're going to do a quick breakdown of what that is and what we've been doing for the past nearly a year and a bit now.
Longer than a year and a bit. So we're coming up to 2 years, I think.
Coming up to 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years coming up to. I think summer is definitely 2 years. But yeah. If you've been with us before, then you know what's going down. Every month we study an African great in a revolutionary mind, a Pan-African great, actually, specifically a Pan-African great. And we turn our research upon their lives into spoken word poetry that we then perform at Auntie Jean's African Culture Market, normally every third Sunday of the month. And
taking place
in Tower Bridge, you know.
Yep, in Purbrook Road in Tower Bridge. I can get the full address and details to you as the show goes on.
All right. So yeah, and this project was brought to us by Nate, the lyricist, who normally joins us on this live, but we'll see if he's able to make it and contribute to tonight's discussion. Yeah. So we've gone through names like Harriet Tubman, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, who's obviously the major inspiration of this Kimbunga media channel, the Honourable Marcus Mosiah Garvey. We've also done Booker T. Washington, we've done Assata Shakur, we've done Frank Critchlow, we've done Kandake Amanirenas, we
have done Harriet Tubman. Did you say?
I did say
the Queen.
I did.
Did you say Winnie Mandela?
No, we've done Winnie Mandela.
Winnie Madikizela Mandela.
Yes.
We did
Dandara,
Dos Palmares,
Dessalines,
Jean-Jacques Dessalines.
And last month we actually
Kwame Nkrumah,
yes, Thomas Sankara, Patrice Lumumba, and many, many other names who've actually covered a lot in this time frame. And each of them have got poems about them from several of us, and they've got art. Majority of them have got art by celebrity, visual art. So we've got word art and we've got visual art that accompanies these revolutionary minds. And yeah, we turn up on Kimbunga Media, normally the Friday before, and we talk about our study. We reason. We share what we've learned, and we have a little reasoning. And then normally, those who join us in the comments, big up to Anthony McPhail. You've been a great contributor to a couple of names that we've been studying of recent.
It's great to have you with us again.
It is great to have you, and also, I think that last month we weren't around, so if you missed us, we took a short break. But we actually studied Funmilayo Kuti.
Yes.
And this month we have studied King Piye of King Piye of the 25th dynasty of Kemet.
Ancient Kemet and Ancient Kush.
Yeah.
So we're going to share what we've learned about Funmilayo Ransome Kuti through our poetry that we... I wasn't there last month at Auntie Jean's. Apologies, but you, my other whole, did read out for me my poem that I did write on Funmilayo, because we had a bit of an extra month to learn. Extra week to learn. Yeah. So we can share my poetry and then we can talk about the study of her, and then we'll move swiftly on to King Piye. This will probably be quite a short episode today. Unless we're joined by some of our Garvey Village poets, we'll see what happens. But for now, we just want to part what we've learned, promote Auntie Jean's, and encourage you to come along to Auntie Jean's and participate and learn some more for yourselves. And also, it's a market, so there's always a reason to come and spend that hard-earned cash for the Black-owned shop, company. Promoting Black-owned is always the way. So you should make your way down to Auntie Jean's African Cultural Market at Magdalen Hall, Purbrook Street, SE1 3DQ.
What time?
From 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. every third Sunday of the month. it's £5 entry before, or it's free before 3 p.m. So if you get there on time, you get to do the, honouring of the ancestors and everything like that, and we get to move smoothly into the rest of the day, get there on time, it's free. But if you get there later than 3 p.m,
you're contributing in another way. Very important.
£5, or if you want to give more, you should give more, because Auntie Jean's been doing this for the community for 10 years.
And also, this is a road to the Garvey village. There's a road towards the Garvey village. And so we're part of it. Yes, Anthony McPhail, give thanks for saying, smash the like button.
Yes, share
and share.
Smash it. Like that button. Tell us you love us. Tell us you're here for us. Come on, we know you're out there, family, and we want to see and hear from you.
And I hear your suggestions. We will pass it on to Nate, the lyricist. Like I said, this is his concept. This is his project, and we are part of supporting it.
Let's hear it. Let's hear what are the suggestions.
The suggestion is Beres Edwards, aka Nana Bonsu, of the UK via Guyana. Never heard of him, so it'd be good to look into him. And Miriam McCabe.
Oh yeah,
that would be amazing.
We were with Miriam today, actually.
Yeah. And Kwame Ture, yes, Kwame Ture would be amazing as well. He would be actually amazing. I'd love to do Kwame Nkrumah. Okay. Yeah. But today we're going to do Funmilayo Kuti. We're going to catch up on her. Kuti and King Pai.
Yes, we are. And if you just please ignore the black cat in the background, our Black Pantheress there. She's just trying to make herself known and be popular amongst the people then. So please ignore her. So yeah, Funmilayo, that was really good to study, because it was actually in Women's Month, Women's International Month in March, and she was a powerhouse. Hence why her son, Fela Kuti, absolutely adored his mother. He adored his parents. He was one of 4 children, I think. I believe there was 4 of them. I may be wrong. But he absolutely adored his mother. And the reason why is because he knew what a beacon of light she had been, or has been, or was, or is currently still in terms of her memory to the developing country of, what's known as Nigeria. So she was born in 1900. As we know, colonization was fully, in place in the 1900s. And at that time, Nigeria was called it was a company. It still is a company, but it was actually called that still at that time. It wasn't still fully formed as Nigeria, but it was beginning to, be turned into what became Nigeria. And so in that time, a lot of changes and shifts were happening. And the British, who really had a stronghold over Nigeria, or what they did not name Nigeria in the end, were imposing taxes. So around, say, 1930s or so, they were imposing taxes upon the women, upon the market women, upon the people, for this, that, and the other. And these were the type of things that Funmilayo stood up against, even though she was born into, the aristocrats, into the rich, or the people that were doing the administration, the people that the British were schooling in the ways of the British. She was born into that. However, her father very much helped to teach her about who she is, her family, her identity, her Yoruba background, and identity and culture. So amongst having all these privileges, as money brings to certain groups of us, depending how you're going to view it, she still was rooted. She was very much grounded and rooted in her true heritage. She overstood about the Ifa tradition. She spoke Yoruba, and prioritized that and taught that to her children. So today, it's not a surprise when Sean Kuti, the son of one of Fela Kuti's children, has taken on that legacy and still talks on his grandmother in such a proudful way because of all the impact that she had during her time. So she's not only, I think people may know her for being the first woman to drive and all of that, which is still fascinating. It's still it's still a big deal, but it doesn't compare to leading the women to get to a point of reducing the taxes that had been imposed upon them, which were being superimposed by the local Oba, or the local sort of kings of the time, who were working in cahoots with the British and supporting these taxations on the market women. They actually managed to get one abdicated for a while as well. That was a huge achievement, and this is despite the violence that was put against them as women, by the enforcers of laws that just were not anything to do with our African culture. So she was really good to study during Women's Month, because she's a great example of the lioness that's within all women, I believe, the capacity for change that can come from a woman, where you don't need to be led by your partner or a male counterpart to go ahead and make the changes that you want to see. She should be taught in every single school, in my opinion, and across the globe, for her inspiration, her fire, her lioness empowerment. Well, how did you find learning about Funmilayo?
Yeah, you've spoken for both of us, to be honest. Like, Funmilayo, within and of herself, is a great, and yeah, as time has gone by, her legacy has been somewhat overshadowed by her son, Fela. And as you said, what people know, okay, she was the first one to drive, but yeah, she did a lot more than that. And yeah, you pointed out that she led a people power movement, a woman power movement that ended up with the king being having to flee from his throne. She basically removed the king, and she didn't have to do that, as you also pointed out. She didn't have to do any of that. She chose to do it. And by saying she didn't have to, is just recognizing her position. So if you're middle class and you're earning a certain amount of money, then you're not suffering the same that a villager would be suffering from. The taxation, you're not being personally affected by that. But she saw herself one and the same with the people and with the woman. And so therefore she fought up against the oppressive ways.
Yeah, and big up to the whole Kuti clan. I also want to mention that I watched there's a very good documentary on Netflix by a Nigerian historian who covered that movement as well, and also quoted another woman who also did similar works when it came to the market women in the 1800s as well. So there's a root to every single action that we take. So there's always people to inspire by your actions that you take. So it's something that I took away from the learnings. It's like learning about Funmilayo. There was someone who she was a predecessor of someone else, not family related and from a different part of the town, but still doing that work. It fed through and it filtered through the rest of the villages, and people hear about this and are inspired to take action and not be fearful, because there's only so much that the evil people can do if everyone is fighting.
Well, I guess that's to the point of what the Juma Boutique has said just now. I think that it's problematic when African people say they didn't have to do, if not you, then who?
Yeah.
That's to the point.
It's exactly that. It's if not you, then who? You just got to really take on the mantle and know that you've got this. If you're called to do it, you've just got to go and listen to the calling and go ahead with the battle. Because yeah, it's always going to have the right outcome. It's led from a place of integrity and justice, and you got to be the voice for the voiceless. You know, she used the power and position to bring about a lot of good changes. And then it was the Alake of Abeokuta. Yes, the Alake of Abeokuta is who they brought down. Thank you so much. You got those facts. Dijuma Boutique. Thank you so much. It's good to hear from you. Please keep letting us know any information. We are always happy to hear. This is the wrong book. I did on this one. So what I want to read to you, everyone, is because I didn't get to read my poem. You're going to share yours as well.
Mine was majority freestyle, which I don't mind, you know, having a go at again.
Well, no, it's okay. This is called Lioness. It's okay.
Wow. It's the fuel. All of this is good fuel.
No, I'm saying it's okay because we've got to go on to Kimathi.
Go ahead.
Do you want to do the...
No.
Do you want to?
Go on.
Okay, so this one is called Lioness of Lasabi. And we can do like a, what do you call it, genius. You can break down some parts of it.
What, your poem?
Well, yeah, because it will just give reference to some of what we learned.
Go on. Yeah, go on then.
Okay, Lioness of Lasabi, ahead of the 20th century, born 1900, Funmilayo Ransom Kuti. Unlike some of her fellow high-class indignitaries, she had a roaring heart for her community. The market women particularly, who were taxed under imperialist colonial mentality, fell in there. I just put a little line there, which is Fela Kuti's song, Colonial Mentality.
Well, actually, let me just, because at the scene Dijuma Boutique as well is what's to do the anti-McFell MPV of the show. Yoruba people of those days were anti-colonial, anti-imperialist. From Herbert Macaulay, Funmilayo Kuti, Awolowo, and Anthony Enahoro put forth legal motion to kick out the Brits. Wow, good information.
Come on.
My family.
And you know what? Awolowo came up earlier with my auntie who's visiting currently from Nigeria. She's based in Lagos, but we're from Port Harcourt. But she brought him up as a really impassioned and pained way to talk about someone who was really someone who was fighting for the people.
Macaulay is actually, a cousin's name. So I'm going to look into that. Yeah.
Thank you.
David's, whose birthday was yesterday actually. But David, his what are Macaulays? They're basically their father.
Right.
So his grandfather was Macaulay.
Okay.
So we're gonna go and do some research into this. Good, thanks.
Okay, I go on.
Go on.
Okay. Her passion for the righteous in her Libra scales, this is inaccurate, she's not actually a Libra.
It's a Scorpio.
It's a Scorpio. But I would not be surprised if she had some Libra placements because she was so much about justice, righteousness and justice.
And her rising could
be. Could be.
This is where Nate is needed.
Yeah. Her passion for the righteous in her Libra scales, her father's encouragement in her knowledge of self. In Yoruba tongue, she cussed out the official soldiers and won the hope of the market mothers and daughters. Leader of the Abeokuta Women's Union during the 40s, demanding removal of the Alake who was abdicated temporarily. Thanks to the power of their womanhood, she was more than a lady.
You're a genius at that.
Come on!
Go on.
You know what that is.
Really.
Okay, yeah, name the song, guys. Name the song, my fella. She go say, I'll be lady. Oh, that one. And her small frame unleashed muscles to force the good. Okay, let me say that whole line again. Thanks to the power of their womanhood, she was more than a lady. Her small frame unleashed muscles to force the good. A traveler of the world, inspiring many boys and girls, No enemy can muddy her waters. She re-emerged as the popularity of women's rights reveals her stories, papers. This March, we spark the feminine divine, remembering Fela came from an empress who gave him that shrine. For without that fierce spirit of the matriarch, Aníkúlápó would have remained in the dark. I really believe that. So, to honor the beauty and bravery of a woman who must be seen, we give thanks to our lioness, our mother, our African queen, Funmilayo Ransom Kuti. So that was what I wrote. I didn't get to perform it, so I thought, let me at least share it on here.
Yeah, give thanks. It's appreciated on the Kimbunga Media platform, I am certain.
Thank you. And thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. And these are the type of things that we want to hear more of at Auntie Jean's African Culture Market. Poets, we all channel the messages differently. We all read from the same source, or from different sources, but we all are going to poetize it in a different and unique way. So it's such a beautiful bit when we get to hear how everyone interpreted all that information and made it into a poem. So I would encourage you, come on Sunday, the 20th of April, to Auntie Jean's and listen to the poetry that you're going to hear all about King Pi, who we're going to move on to
right now.
All right.
Yeah, last point on Funmilayo, Dejuma, as said, sadly, Funmilayo died at the hands of an imperialist vassal, Olusegun Obasanjo, who also made sure that Awolowo never led Nigeria. It's a shame. It's a damn shame. It's one of the things that we have to figure out. It's a conundrum that how we deal with traitors and people with 0% loyalty. It's a real conundrum that we're having to figure out in terms of our formula in gaining liberation, right? Yeah. And at the time, it's framed. It does feel like it was more than that because of who she was and what she did. But it's like Fela's mum was treated in that fashion rather than Funmilayo was treated in that fashion, if you get what I'm saying. So because Fela was the one who was doing rebellion and such at that particular point in time. But her legacy, and this is the thing about you just got to take on the mantle and do it regardless. But the thing is with me, I like to appreciate what Dejuma said earlier in terms of if not you, then who? And it's true. But fear is a big thing, and fear is actually legitimate because there are consequences. The sadly part of her story actually happened. You know what I'm saying? And it's those type of results that means that others don't want to do it. But what's the choice? Is it to live under oppression, or is it to sometimes having to accept that the ultimate sacrifice has to be made? But I like to appreciate those that do make the ultimate sacrifice because they deserve it. It's not for us to say, well, everyone should just do it, because the vast majority are not doing it. It is a tiny, small percentage of people that are prepared to make the ultimate sacrifice. And for that, they should be appreciated in a special kind of way. Those of us who are doing these kind of works at sacrifice should be appreciated for doing it. It's not for nothing, basically.
Definitely. There's a great film I recommend you can watch called Funmilayo Ransom Kuti, directed by Bolanle Austin Peters, and the writer is Tunde Babalola. You can watch that on Prime, on Amazon Prime or Amazon. And I would highly recommend it. It's a beautiful, wonderful film about love, passion. It's about women empowerment. It's about everything, beautiful about her story. I really enjoyed it, and I really recommend that you watch that and support that. These type of films are being made about our heroes. So yeah.
Dejuma also said, do you guys know that the Kuti's ancestors were kidnapped but fought their way to freedom, trekked from Sierra Leone to Abeokuta. Wow, I did not know that.
Please, Dejuma, please can you please tell us your sources as well, because this is really information that we didn't know.
Abiola was also a vassal.
Okay.
But yeah, Sierra Leone, the connection between Sierra Leone and Nigeria is very, very strong, and in particular with the Yorubas. So I'm part Yoruba, but the nation that I guess I'm associated with is Sierra Leone by way of my father. But my father's two of my dad's grandparents, two of my great grandparents, that's easier to say, two of my great grandparents were Yoruba. And in Freetown, where you had a lot of the Creoles, in Freetown itself, you had an area, and you still have an area up until this day, where it is Yoruba. Like, this area is Yoruba. And that connection between the Yoruba and the Yoruba in what we now call Nigeria is very strong. In fact, the Yoruba have done very well to preserve culture despite the transatlantic enslavement and the colonization. When you think about places like Brazil and Cuba and how Ifa has been preserved, the Yoruba have done very, very well. So I'm proud to, have Yoruba blood. So thank you for even bringing that up. And Macaulay, that is through a Sierra Leone as well.
Yes, so carry on, please.
That's it. That's all. Let's move on to King Pie.
Okay. Oh, sorry, not supposed to. Okay, so
King Pie, right?
Yeah. So King Pie.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah. Let's get back into the flow. So King Pie is who we are covering this month for the Revolutionary Mind. And Nat actually knows a lot about King Pie because he's one of Nat's really strong inspirations. His message of, there's a lot of reasons that we can go into, but I want to give a brief background to Kush.
Yeah, you asked like a question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about King Pie. I do not know a lot about King Pie, but I'm very much inspired by King Pie, and I'll explain it later.
Very inspired. So I was looking into what I was trying to find out is about so most of us learn about Kemet. We learn about ancient Kemet because, the pyramids, they are the most famous, but actually there's a whole other side to the ancient civilizations of that region, from the area that's today Sudan, and even further across towards Ethiopia and all these areas where you don't learn about that ancient period, which actually predates Kemet. So it's first. And that is because it's undeniably African there, okay? They know it's blackness that you're only you can't be like, oh, the colors are interpreting the vibes of the time of whatever. No, it's black people. Okay, there's no argument. So instead of really acknowledging the vast and the incredible nature of those civilizations that existed way before, they just don't talk about it. It's just a blackout. Even though there are far more pyramids there's ancient temples and structures there. So we did cover Meroe. We did cover, because we looked at Kandake and Manarenas, which is also in that same area of Sudan, today's Sudan. But now we're going to look into King Pie. I just want to this is a bit from ancient science and technology from Ethiopia and the rest of Africa. This is a book that's partly written by Robin Walker. It's probably backwards on your screen because it's mirrored, but we can put that in the righted bit. So Kush, There's a little bit about Kush here on page 81. Kerma, the capital city of the early empire of Kush, was a particularly distinguished center of architecture. The empire of Kush was located in the same place as modern Sudan and the southern portion of modern Egypt. Scholars divide the history of Kerma into the ancient period, the middle period, and the classic period. These periods as a whole take us from the same period as Dynasty 6 in Egypt to Dynasty, what's this?
18
in Egypt. I controversially estimate the time period involved as 4,200 BC to 1,601 BC. Kerma, at the peak of its power, was the largest city in Africa outside Egyptian territory, covering 65 acres. Surrounding the central parts of the city was a wall of massive size with a ditch in front of it. The walls were 30 feet high and made of mud bricks. They had rectangular towers that projected and also had 4 fortified gates. Inside the city lay the gardens, the palace of the king, the houses of the nobility, and the Fufa, a large white temple. It was 150 feet long, 75 feet wide, and towering 60 feet tall. Its walls were 12 feet thick and were straight and even. There was also a second religious complex separated by a 16-foot wall. This complex consisted of bronze workshops, storerooms, housing for the priests, and also chapels. I'm reading this just to give you a demonstration of these civilizations that existed many, many millennia ago, and just the levels of intricate buildings and stuff that they had there. So Kush flourished a second time between 860 BC and 350 AD, leaving behind a wealth of architectural evidence. There are at least 223 Kushite pyramids in the cities of Al-Kuru, Nuri, Gebel, Barkal, and Meroe. They are generally 20 to 30 meters high and steep-sided, sloping around 70 degrees. They are made of smaller blocks than the Egyptian counterparts. The pyramids were used for royal burials and were entered by underground stairways on the eastern side. Meroe became the capital of the Kushite Empire from around 590 BC until around 350 AD, a period well attested by monuments. There are, for example, 84 pyramids in the city alone, many built with their own miniature temple. Moreover, there are ruins of a bathhouse sharing affinities with those of the Romans. Okay, and yeah, it goes on to talk about the different parts of Nubia. Nubia, again, is that southern area covering, but it's not really the name of a particular part of, it's not really the name of the empires, but it's often people refer to Nubia, but the specific empires are things like Kerma, Kush.
Kerma is the capital, Kush.
Oh, sorry, yeah, Kush is a specific.
Kush is one of the empires of Nubia, yeah.
So we want to talk about King Piye, or Pi, who was from the region of Nubia, or Kush, and travelled back home. So the relationship between the two areas is what we really want to talk about, or what we got to learn about or think about during studying King Piye, and what the Egyptologists have done to suppress that knowledge, because they really just don't want any affiliation with Africa and great civilization. They just don't. They tried their hardest to deny it. But there was more than a relationship. The connection was, I guess, it was broken down by one of the historians who follow. He said, like, if you think of Nubia as as California, and Egypt as LA.
No, then you're still talking about Nubia. So Nubia, you think of Nubia as California, and the Kingdom of Kush would be LA.
Oh, sorry, sorry. The Kingdom of Kush would be LA. So that was describing that. But the relationship between
home team history on YouTube. If you do home team history, you'll find them.
Yeah. So what would you say the relationship between ancient Nubia, the area that they call that, and Kemet is?
You're going on to describe that, right?
No, that's what I'm asking you. What would you say it is?
Okay, so basically it's African historians who are best equipped to talk on the matters of Kemet will say that Kemet belongs to the Nile Valley civilizations. So Nile Valley stretches from, if you want to go from north to south, it will go from Egypt today, what we call it Egypt, and go all the way down the Nile to Uganda and Congo. The Cometians themselves recognize that their civilization stretches back from the south. So we have Lower Egypt, Lower Kemet, which is at the most north part of Egypt, of Africa, and then you have Upper Kemet, which is the land just before you get to Nubia, or just before you get to Sudan. So it's the south part of Egypt. And then when you get from Nubia and down the Nile, it's all considered one Nile Valley civilization. So it could be seen as, I guess, a good metaphor would be Western civilization, right? You have Western civilization, which spans from basically Europe. You got Australia. European-dominated nations or European-run nations is considered the West today. It would be very similar to that. So European-dominated nations, a couple decades ago, you would consider them as Christian nations, for example, right? Their spiritual belief system is Christian. The West as a whole no longer have that same level of faith in Christianity. So it's more, I guess, agnostic in terms of spirituality. That's the energy right now that we have, that people are obsessed with technology or technological advancements, social media, etc., etc., etc. That typifies the spiritual and the cultural nature of the West today. The Nile Valley civilization, there'll be interconnected cultural norms between Kemet and Nubia, etc., etc., etc. And in fact, that is Africa-wide, to be honest. Ubuntu, I am because we are, and because we are, therefore I am. That philosophical thinking permeates the entire continent. So from East Africa to West Africa, North, Central, South, we all have that interconnected philosophy of Ubuntu, but it will be obviously in a language that is more fitting to where we are in terms of our particular specific group. But the nature is very similar. Similarly, with Nubia and with Kemet, and as Stella was alluding to earlier, the erasure of everywhere but Egypt when it comes to Africa is a deliberate and political ploy of essentially separating us from greatness and making sure that and whitewashing history.
Yeah.
Like basically, so saying that the ancient Egyptians are not black, not African. In fact, they are European or they're Arab, essentially is allowed to be more easier when you have a distinct separation from Kemet and Nubia. But when you actually study Nubia and you find, wow, there is a lot of cultural norms shared between Nubia and Kemet, then that argument doesn't really hold weight. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Really and truly.
Which is why even when we go on to talk about King Piye, we'll see they've tried to explain it away. Why did this king come to Kemet and do this and that. Why? What was his motivation? And because it's not an invasion, it's clearly not an invasion as well. They can't explain it away. It's a brotherhood. It's a sisterhood. It's a oneness. It's something that anyway we're gonna go on and talk about. But yeah, it's really important to understand the relationship between these two areas as you've just broken down, because I think the empowerment for us as a community can come from knowing where we come from. It has those major achievements to the point where Tarseti, let's go back to Tarseti, which is the land of the bow. Okay, this is again the region that is further south. The military prowess of Nubia. It was strong, and you need that. Obviously, you need that because you need protection from invasions and people. So you have your terrain, you have your area that you're covering has the capability of keeping people out. That's one thing, but you also have weaponry, and the land of Tarseti, or is it the land of the blacks?
Land of the bow.
Land of the bow
is Tarseti. And Tarseti exists before Kemet.
Yeah, but it's the origins of that area that I really want.
It's the origins of Nubia.
Nubia that I want to mention in terms of the vulnerabilities that were more in the upper part
in Kemet.
Of Kemet. There was vulnerabilities, and there were
lower part.
It's called the lower part.
The lower part is the most north part.
The most north is the lower part. Yeah. It's conflicting in my brain.
Yeah, it's switch. Yeah, you have to switch it, but it is what it is.
So the lower part, ancient Kemet, the one that we all know and go to and visit, and don't really go to Sudan, but we go there, was more vulnerable to invasions. Over time, they were invaded by a lot of different entities and taken over. And on a couple of occasions, people wanted to correct that, and bring back the ancient ways. So as these invaders came in, they would bring their practices and their ways and water down what was the practices that had come in from deeper Africa. To the lower, so the lower part was murky, and obviously the information comes back, and these new ways are either received or questioned. What on up there? What on down there? What is he doing with our ancient ways? I'm acting right. So you can go on to
and I guess it's similar in a sense if you want to think about the West. When a Western country is attacked, the NATO comes to correct those ways. Or the language we have around, they're coming there, taking over, bringing their ways, our culture is under threat. It's similar, very similar. So you had that in Nubia, and that you've mentioned Tarseti, I think is to note. Kush, Nubia, was never defeated by any non-African. In thousands of years, they were never defeated, and they were master archers that were top for thousands of years.
Yeah, master, and they had golden arrows and golden bows, bro. Is what I heard. Did you hear that?
Well, if you listen to our show talking about Kandake Manarenis, you definitely would have heard that, because Kandake Manarenis was the one who defeated.
And it was a thing when
Augustus Caesar.
Yeah, and it's a thing. They did that. We send you our bows to tell you about yourself. It wasn't just her that did that, I think King Piye did it as well at one point.
Yeah.
I just love that. Like, do you want a gift?
Hey, yo, look, Nate the lyricist.
Where?
Peace. What are you saying? You jumping on, bro?
Oh, peace, guys.
Come on, join us.
Yeah,
your position is not really in the comment section.
But yeah, so what was I saying? Let's not lose the focus. We are on
King Pie. King Pie.
Yeah, let's move on to King Pie.
Yeah, we have moved on. All right, so you want to get personal. All right, King Pi. Why is he an inspiration to? He's an inspiration to myself because basically, we need stories.
Who was he?
Of victory.
Yeah.
And as I said earlier, the Nubians actually never lost to any non-African. So Stella made a point earlier about Kemet being rolled over. Kemet being rolled over happened a few times. That's why you had the Old Kingdom, the Middle Kingdom, and the New Kingdom. Each of those kingdoms made up dynasties. In between those kingdoms, you had intermediate periods where there was some stages they didn't have no formal rule, and other stages they had foreign rulership. And as Stella said earlier, that foreign rulership then would bring their ways. So with King Pi taken over from his father, Kashta, he essentially saw what was going on in Kemet, didn't like it, and was like, we need to restore order. And it's very much a feeling that I have of where we're at today. There's a need for us to restore order, restore ancient order, ancient African order. And with King Pi, he declared a holy war upon the misled rulers of Kemet, a broken down Kemet. And essentially, he won. He rolled up into Kemet, defeated these imposter rulers, and reinstalled the old ways, the ways of the Kemetian gods, specifically Amun-Ra, Mut. That is what he reinstalled.
Yeah, and he's from the 25th.
And yeah, started off with the 25th dynasty. Yes, he kicked off the 25th dynasty, which biblically referenced Taharqa is in there, who expanded the region as well. So in fact, what's so great about King Pi as well is that he wasn't just like, your average basic conqueror. He came through, took over, united Kemet and Kush. So Kush and Kemet were now one. So you got Lower, Upper Kemet and Kush all as one. They're one. And so that's a huge empire within itself. And then once he achieved that goal, he just moved back down. He moved back to Nubia. It's like, I've done. I'm happy back where home is. I'm not looking to run things from Kemet. I'm looking to run things from here, from Nubia. Now that I've restored order, now that the spiritual victory has been done, I can go back and rule from home. And he did so for, I think, 30 years.
Yeah, 30 years is the rough estimate.
Yeah, he did so for 30 years. So, yeah.
There's a lot of documentary on him. As in, there's a lot of documented stelas, they called, stelas.
As Nate the Lyricist has said there, King Pi Stela
is
powerful.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of documented resources, which is good to depict everything that he did achieve. So that's fantastic. And we did want to go to the British Library, probably go tomorrow to get more.
Let's see what we can find.
See what else we can find for our poetry. But I can read a little bit. I don't want to be too ready, but to be honest, that's just where I'm at right now. But he had many children.
Give thanks.
We give thanks. The children, Pharaoh, Taharqa, like you just said. Shepenupet.
Yes.
The second, Queen Kalhata, Queen Ati, Queen Tabeken Amun, Queen Napara Raye. How many queens?
A lot of daughters.
Takahaten Namun and how Kal Agut. I think that's many children, indeed, a lot of daughters. And his father was King Kashta, and they're not too sure about the mother. They say possibly Queen Pebat Jma. Wow, big family. Yeah. And the monuments they mention here, stela at the Jebel Bakal, enlargement of Temple of Amun, and Jebel Bakal Pyramid at El Kuru. Yeah, so his reign was between 744 and 714 BC.
And as Nate has said, King Shabaka was his brother, and he took over after he passed. Shabaka's stone is in the British Museum. Yes, it is actually, and it's one of those ones, yeah, where you hear about Shabaka's stone, and it's one of those like, so I guess, epic lore type treasures that the British Museum has. But yeah, it would be good to, like, I haven't actually seen it with my own eyes, so yeah, might actually just rock up there and just do some research. I'm sure you have, Nate. I'm sure you've seen it in person.
Okay.
Piye and Shabaka were focused on restoring the magnificence of Kemet, and they did a loads. Yes, they did. And this is why there's such an inspiration.
Okay.
And why we all need to know about them as well.
Well, we have to mention Memphis, so this does that here. So I'm going to read it. Okay. Reading, guys. So, the kingdom of Kush, of which Piye was ruler, emerged out of the Egyptianized population of the Sudan. Okay, you know, this is why you have to preach that because you're about to read. What do you mean by Egyptianized? This is coming from a Eurocentric
Britannica
perspective. You know, they talk about our perspective as Afrocentric. Well, this is a Eurocentric point of view. So please ignore the faux pas which I'm about to read. Just pay attention to the bits that we need. Okay. So yeah, the kingdom of Kush, of which Piye was ruler, emerged out of the Sudan near Mount Bakal between the 3rd and 4th Nile cataracts. The Egyptian god Amon-Ra was strongly entrenched amongst the Kushites, and a threat by Tefnate, a Libyan chieftain of the Nile Delta, to Ammon's homeland in Upper Egypt, provoked Lower Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
In Lower Egypt. Is that what they mean?
No, they mean what they're saying.
Okay. Provoked Piye to move northwards. Following a ritual visit to Thebes, Piye's forces met the Libyan's river fleet and defeated it. They then vanquished a land army near, I can't read any of these words, Heracleopolis in Middle Egypt, and advanced to take Hermopolis, another Middle Egyptian stronghold off of the Libyans, and Memphis, Egypt's ancient capital. Piye received the submission of several Delta potentates and later of the last representative of the 23rd dynasty. He then invaded the Delta, where more local rulers surrendered. Finally, Tefnake sent a message of submission, and Piye sent an emissary to obtain his oath of fealty. What does fealty mean? Fealty?
It's a form of
oath of like submission or like surrender. Oath of like.
This is what I'm gonna do.
What they call it, the knee.
Yeah.
Is that a knee?
Essentially.
Is that you taking the knee?
Yeah.
All right. After some final submissions by Holdites, Piye sailed home to Mount Bakal with the spoils of his venture. He remained in the capital and was buried there. The great stela recounting his deeds also was found there and is dated to the 21st year of his reign. So really an another epic tale that needs to have a movie or two. Do you know what I mean? We keep watching these movies about, I don't know, the Gladiator and things like that, you know, made 50 years later, they carry on making all these films, but it's like King Piye did an epic.
He did. And what I like about him as well, like I love anime. And one of the reasons why I love anime is because they have more complex ways of telling their stories, other than good guy, bad guy, good guy kills a bad guy, bad guy explodes, the end. Like with King Piye, same sort of thing in the anime. They might have drawn inspiration from studying, you know, us. And essentially, after he defeated his enemies, he kind of allowed them. He wasn't like, right, that's it, I'm going to blow you up and kill you and all that kind of stuff. He was like, all right, now that you've basically given up, you apologize, whatever, cool, everything irie. That was how he moved.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's pretty much all we know. And we don't have any poetry to share today. But for those of you who are into poetry, I really want to promote a spoken word event that is coming up that you must come to this month of May. Are we in May yet? We're not in May yet. We're not in May yet. But, you know, the speed of the way these things are coming, it's like, it's crazy. You okay, baby?
I'm great.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good. Okay, so yeah, this is called Gold Bars, Poetic Temple Slam. This is you're not even gonna see it properly, but we have an event coming up on the 14th of May, which you need to get to. It's at the Africa Centre, and it is a poetry slam. So for 6 months, this will be the 6th month, but for 5 months we've been doing this event called Poets times the Africa Centre. And Poetic Temple is an event that we run together, which is all about empowerment, enlightenment.
It's a platform for the poets, the people of extraterrestrial substance, who embody the tenets of empowerment, healing, and enlightenment through words. Oh, I'm crazy there.
Yeah. So Poetic Temple is a really amazing open mic experience. We've been doing it for years now. We started in 2018, I believe was our first one, in the H Club in Covent Garden. And then we've done them in Shoreditch House, we've done them in Soho House, we've done them at the Africa Centre, and we're looking to expand to do more places. But the Africa Centre is really the most important one to us because it's the Africa Centre, and they are fundraising 6 million. And we, as part of our contribution, are fundraising 6,000 through these events and through this these merch that we are also selling online. Because we want to contribute £6,000, we want to show through empowerment messages. So each event that we've run has had a message of empowerment. We've had people of extraterrestrial substance. We've had Afrofutures Now, which is what this is. This top represents. So there's live art that happens during each event, and that gets turned into these clothing that you can buy and contribute towards the £6,000 we're trying to fundraise. And we've also had Mansa's Gold and Golden Ages. Who's booing? Who gave us a thumbs down? You mean thumbs up? We've also had Mansa's Gold, and what was the last one we did?
African Gods and Goddesses.
Oh yeah,
Golden Age.
African Gods and Goddesses. We were joined by DJ Atelier, who are an amazing power couple who paint together stories and folklores from Africa and teach on African subjects that aren't hidden. They are really right up the street of here. They're supposed to be here right now because they're just a younger version of me and of me and that. So yeah, they've been amazing events. We've had such great feedback about them. If you've not been to one, you have your last and final opportunity, unless we get some good news that we can announce soon, to come to the last one, which is going to be on the 14th of May at the Africa Centre from 6 p.m. till 10 p.m. There's going to be prizes, raffle prizes. You can get a raffle ticket and win a whole bunch of prizes. It's just £5 for a raffle ticket. Buy yourself as many as you want. You can do it all on Eventbrite link. And all you need to type in is Poets at the Africa Centre, and you'll find us on Eventbrite. So I'd encourage you, come along to that, support what we're doing. We're really dedicated to raising this money for the Africa Centre. We love what they're about. They're a 60-year-old establishment. You know, let's make Africa Town. That's what we've been discussing in Africa Town. You know, we've got Chinatown. We have all these spaces that are dedicated to different groups, and we need our own space. And yeah, that's where it can begin. They have so much activities going on in that space. But if you need an excuse to come and just test it out and see what this beautiful space is, then come to this event. I'm encouraging you, get your ticket. It's only £10. A percentage goes back to the Africa Centre as part of the fundraiser as well. So you're doing two things when you buy a ticket. You're supporting us and you're supporting the Africa Centre. So you can't ask for much more than that. And you're going to have an amazing time. You're here because you love poetry. So,
Shout out actually on that to Shakara.
Big up Shakara.
The head of
he
Kimbunga
tore
Media.
it up.
He did.
He came through and
Gods and goddesses.
he was absolutely legendary in the space. You had to be there. You had to be there to witness the thing. Okay, it was amazing. And it's the second time he's actually torn it up at the Africa Centre there in that particular space. Because he also performed at our exhibition as well. And jeez, you know, it was amazing. And so for more of those kind of things happening, how can I forget? One last thing to mention about this, and we move on to the next event we're going to promote. We have a slam, okay? So there's a competition going on of a slam, a poetry slam, judged by, guess who the judges are? Let's do a drum roll, please. The judge we have in the building.
JL from Texture.
Woo! So Texture are coming through. Yeah! Keep the thumbs up coming. Who else have we got coming through? Jeez!
L Crisis.
Crisis. Who else we got coming through? Zena Edwards. What? And one more announcement to make.
Lyric L.
And we may have another surprise for you guys of who's going to be coming through to judge. These are legends spoken word artists from the UK, London area, who are coming through to be the judges for our Poetry Slam Gold Bars happening on the 14th of May. Get your tickets today, right now, okay? Because you don't want to miss this. And now I'm done.
Well, yeah, and if you don't know if any of those names, do check them out because you will be blessed. Like, that's guaranteed. Zena Edwards, Zena Edwards, Lyric L, Lyric, and then write, like, you don't put space, just put L. Just Spotify, YouTube, it'll help. Like, and
L Crisis.
EL Crisis. Like, just, again, YouTube. Go on Instagram, type in his names. Like, it's just one way for you.
And Nai, the lyrical alchemist, of course, is going to be hosting alongside moi, and he is the lyrical alchemist.
Yeah,
okay?
So we have all the reasons why you should just come through and buy your tickets.
Yes.
But this live is in dedication of Revolutionary Minds, the event that happens at Auntie Jean's African Culture Market, which is happening this Sunday. As we said,
Sunday.
It is going to be from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. and it's in Tower Bridge, Magdalen Hall, Purbrooke Street, SE1 3DQ. 2 to 8 p.m. The Revolutionary Mind section should be at 3 p.m. So yeah, you don't want to miss that. We're just gonna, I mean, when you don't see Nate the Lyricist on here, you're gonna see him there hosting and blazing up the mic. I am certain. With 2C87, there's another one to come through, and whoever else. If you yourself has filled energy and felt the impact of what we've shared about King Pi, then yeah, please do come to Auntie Jean's and share what you have. We welcome you. Or if you're not able to make it, you're international, and also Kimbunga Media is an international media platform. There's brothers and sisters from the continent and from the Caribbean, from the States that I know tune in. Just what Nate has encouraged is you pick up the pen and you study your revolutionary mind. Study the revolutionary minds that we've studied. So we've done King Pi. You've learned a little tiny bit about King Pi. Why not gather a community together and write about him, like learn about him? The thing about what this work does is that you have through the exercise of research, and then through the exercise of writing, and the exercise of putting that, utilizing the breath of life and honoring these ancestors, you then get to see a vision of how this world could actually be through their eyes and through their legacy and what they've done, and how then we can actually make a difference in our time and become a revolutionary mind. That's just my perspective, though. That's just my perspective. But yeah.
Let me just shout out Auntie Jean's market. If you want to find out more details, go to Auntie spelled with an I-E, Jeans or Jean, JEAN ACM, African Cultural Market. So Auntie Jean ACM on Instagram, or you can type in Auntie Jean's African Cultural Market with a K in terms of the Africa Cultural Market on Facebook, if you're on Facebook, and you'll find all of the information there. You can also find her on Eventbrite as well. And if you want to support what we're doing on Revolutionary Minds, follow us on Mind of Revs. Minds of Revs. So MINDSOFREVS. Minds of Revs. Revolutionary Minds. Follow us there as well and support what we're doing. If you have enjoyed today, support Kimbunga Media. Put some cash on the app and smash that like button. Thank you for joining us, everyone that came through. Thank you for all your information. For those who contributed, we have valued that greatly. And we will see you next month. We don't have an announcement of who the next person will be yet, but as soon as we know, we'll let you know as well. Thank you to Kimbunga Media. Thank you to Brother Shakara. Thank you, Nat9.
Thank you, Stella B.
And we'll see you
in a
month.
Big up Nate the Lyricist for the concept. And yeah, your position isn't really in the comments. But yeah, good to see that you managed to come through and share and share about King Pi still. So yeah, Sunday, and everyone else, powers.